going to go to 8A, and you'll click Subunit 2, Get Started, and we are going to do Lesson 2, What Details Grab Your Attention. As a general overview of today, you guys are going to be working on a core skill of focus. You'll learn how to choose a single specific moment and make this one moment the focus of what you're writing about. So to start the lesson, you guys are going to work on vocabulary for a little bit. So you'll click number 1 up here, and then you guys will open your vocab app. And then right here, you guys are going to pause, set a timer for 5 minutes, and then come back to this video. All right, hopefully vocab went well for you guys. So to review, in our last lesson, we talked about the definition of focus, which is to write exclusively about one moment or idea in order to fully develop it. So we looked at this photo in which we saw many moments. So we might have said that Joey was doing leapfrogs over Ben and Manuel was standing on his head, obviously showing off for Shonda, who was pretending not to notice him at all. Over on the grass, the B-Boy Club was practicing some crazy moves. Right nearby, Vincent and Greg were up on Malik and Henry's shoulders, seeing who could pull the other one off. There were some adults hanging out by the market, but they weren't doing absolutely nothing to step in and stop what was going on, even though Mark and his crew had grabbed Andrew and were swinging him back and forth. In this, we see there's a lot of stuff happening. But when we look at this, focus on one moment, we can write a better description and say Vincent had a tight grip on one end of the rope, pulling as hard as he could on Greg. He put his weight in it too, leaning all the way over until he almost slipped off Malik's back. His lips went tight and you could see his arm getting straighter and straighter, like the rope was stretching all the way through his body. So if you guys are wanting to read something, you guys likely want to read something like this more than you want to read something like this, because you want to know what is happening in that specific moment. So I'm going to show you guys some of what your peers wrote that they did well. So over here, we had someone that said, I told my mom I was hungry, so we stopped at McDonald's and got some food. It smelled so good. It smelled like fresh hamburgers off the grill. So think about, what did this person do well? I would say that they were descriptive by saying it smelled like fresh hamburgers off the grill. They paint that picture for you and they tell you what is going on. And here she used a sensory detail. We also have this example over here. It says, I opened the book and began a new adventure into the world of Throne of Glass. Around me was my room, but I couldn't feel it anymore. I was engulfed in a new world. So take a moment and think about, what did this writer do well? Maybe what could they improve on? All right, and the last one. This says, one day when we were sitting out on the beach, we took our boogie boards with us. There was a rip tide, so the waves were super big and they came crashing down all around us. Our daredevilish selves decided that the rip tide wasn't going to stop us for having fun. So again, think about, what did this writer do well? And what do you think this writer could improve on? All right, so today you guys are going to try focusing on one moment. So you guys will click Next Activity down at the bottom. You guys are going to skip number 2. You guys are not going to do this try it on library navigation. Just click Next, and you can go right to number 3. And we already talked about that. You guys can click Next. All right, so you guys should be on 5. Try it on, focus on one moment. Students add vivid details to one sentence to focus in more on that moment. Cooking Salsa says, family dinners don't happen a lot at my house, but when they do, cooking with my mom is fun and frantic. My mom rushes in from work and begins throwing things around in the kitchen while urging me to cut vegetables, shred some cheese, lay the table. My mom loves salsa music, so we put on the radio to dance while we cook. After 30 minutes, we turn all that cutting and frying and dancing into a delicious dinner. Then my big brother slumps down and slurps it all up in 5 minutes. So your task is going to be choose one sentence where you could add additional details and copy and paste it into the box below. You are then going to add 2 more sentences to focus even more on that moment. And some examples of details that you could add sensory details. How does something look, sound, smell, taste, or feel? You can add action. What is someone or something doing? And you can add dialogue. What does someone say? So pick a sentence, any sentence, and then add 2 more sentences that are going to give it more detail. So pause to do that right now. When you are done, you can unpause this video. All right, take a moment to review the student's mindset. Today we're talking about reading carefully, observing closely, and sharing what you think. Say, why do you think, take a minute and think, why is it important that you observe closely? When you've thought about that, go ahead and click Next Activity. So now you guys are going to reread the writing from our previous lesson, and you're going to list 2 or 3 vivid details that you could add to your writing. So your writing should show up on your screen. You guys are going to, if your writing does not show up on your screen, you need to go back to the last lesson and you need to click Hand In. Then when you come to this lesson, your writing should show up. You guys are going to read the writing that you wrote in your previous lesson, and then you're going to make a list here of 2 or 3 vivid details. And again, vivid details are sensory details, how something looks, sounds, smells, tastes, or feels. You can add an action, what is someone or something doing, and dialogue, what is someone saying. So you'll come back to your writing and think about where can you add those vivid details. Make a list of 2 or 3 of those. When you guys have made your list, you guys can come back to this video and unpause. All right, when you are done with that, go ahead and click 8. Some rules for writing. You guys are going to use the whole time, ask for help if you need it, and then continue working. Keep focused on your own work. Don't distract your classmates. If you're at home, be in a place where you can work productively. No talking, trips for water, or surfing the web. Go ahead and click Next. This is where you guys are going to revise your writing. So in the previous activity, you guys listed 2 or 3 details that you could add. Now you guys are going to actually add those in. So find one place in your writing where you can focus more on one small moment. Write 2 or 3 more sentences adding vivid details to capture the feeling of your moment. So for example, if you told us, I ate ice cream, I want you guys to add more details. So what did your ice cream taste like? What did your ice cream smell like? What did your ice cream feel like? Maybe what did someone say to you? Think about all those things and think about how you can incorporate that into your writing for one small moment. So pause your video here and add your couple sentences into your writing and then come back. All right, now we are going to talk about what makes a good response. If you are receiving feedback from somebody on your work, what would you want to hear? These are some examples. Think about, is a specific example, is this a good example or is this a bad example? A says, I don't like the part about your swimming instructor's mean face. B says, I liked how you included me in your piece. C says, I could really picture it when you described the bike shuddering and shaking on the pavement. D says, your piece was really funny. And E says, this part about how your hands turned blue showed me how freezing it was. So take a minute, pause. Which of these are good? Which of these are bad? And why? Let's talk about them. A, I don't like the part about your swimming instructor's mean face. So this is criticism, but is it constructive criticism? Does it tell us anything, or is it just a negative comment about our work? I would say that this is just a negative comment. It doesn't give us any sort of meaningful feedback. B, I liked how you included me in your piece. Okay, that's a nice comment, but it doesn't really give us specific feedback. About C, I could really picture it when you described the bike shuddering and shaking on the pavement. This is a really good example because they say, I like this because, and then they give a specific example from the person's text, shuddering and shaking. And they say, basically, this really paints a picture for me when you say this. So that's a good example. D, your piece was really funny. This is an okay example. It tells us overall our piece was funny, but what was funny about our piece? What specific part was funny? And E, this part about how your hands turned blue showed me how freezing it was. Again, this example is similar to C. So the person who read this gave specific feedback about how when you said that your hands turned blue, I knew that it was cold. So when responding to your peers' writing, you can use response starters. Everything that is bold and underlined will be blank, and you guys will fill in the blank. So I liked it when you used the word blank because blank. Or you created a clear picture of blank when you wrote blank. Or the last one, when you wrote blank, it helped me see that blank. And you guys can read these examples if you would like. So if you're at home, you can skip the share because you don't have anyone to share with. All right, and 11 asks you which types of details did you add to your writing? Did you add sensory details, actions, or dialogue? Go ahead and pick that and click hand in. And then your solo assignment, you're going to skip for today. You do not need to do your solo assignment. All right, I hope you guys have a great day.